In general, for you guys, I'm fine with you guys doing risky openers, right? As your percentages, in the same way that I'm fine with you doing direct openers, because they make the set go somewhere, right? And so it's going to make everything that comes later easier, and it's going to help the rest of your game. As you get better and better, I do want you to go a little less direct and less risky, because I want you to have like faith in yourself later. All that matters on your opener is that you get engaged. It matters that you open the set and you get into it. So early on, going with a direct open, hey, you're cute, I want to meet you, great. Because yes, a lot of girls will say I have a boyfriend, or you know, I can't, thank you, whatever. But the ones that are okay, the set's going to go somewhere very good. Or taking a polarizing opener like this, like you're looking, like can't decide if you like just, you know, are super fashionable or you just rolled out of bed, right? The ones that like it are going to respond very favorably. They're going to think it's funny. You've been very aloof and very cocky and very badass, right? And then a certain amount of them are going to fall off, right? But let's say that like 30% are going to immediately reject you on that. If you get to a good enough level at game, you should be getting a phone number from 85% or higher of your approaches, right? I mean, that's really high level, but that's like my stats, right? If you're getting a phone number 85%, you do an opener that loses the phone number 30% of the time right on the open, that's clearly not good anymore. Right? And so at a certain point, I want you to start being a little less risky and trust your future self. Trust that, like, if I'm in the game with you, I'm going to win. I love the format and delivery of your last two opens. It's not your open, though. The other ones, I don't know if this is your Halloween costume or this is just the way you dress. Love the format. It's very irreverent, teasing, giving her shit. That's great. This one, I don't know if this is, I just rolled out of bed like this. Great. The threshold you want to stop at in general in game is where it's insulting. So anything you say in game, in theory, if the girl were to say that's insulting, you should be able to explain why it's not insulting. So if I actually said, you know what, you're actually not a total fucking retard, right? That's offensive. No, it's not. If I said you were a total fucking retard, it would be offensive, right? It's actually a compliment. It sounds offensive. It's polarizing, but it is actually, when you actually analyze it, if you actually break it down, it was a nice thing to say. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so that's the line I don't cross. I don't go to like actually insulting, but I definitely toy with the emotions of her thinking, was that an insult?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
But the criteria I always have is if she were to call you out and say that's rude, you should be able to say, no, it's completely not. It's actually a compliment, right? Or actually, it's actually completely neutral. It's just an observation. Yeah. Cool. But for now, I love that kind of open. Like, I'm absolutely fine with polarizing opens. I'm actually fine with direct opens for you guys. I have no problem whatsoever. Understand you will get some immediate rejections, and with the direct you'll get some immediate I have a boyfriends, but that's absolutely like a valid risk to take. So like being cocky is good, being too cocky is bad, right? Being like aware of what's going on and how the girl's feeling is good. Being too aware of it is actually bad, because then you care too much, right? Being high value is good. Being high value with no comfort, bad. Right, and so there's, or being, how about like being direct, right? Being so indirect you're beating around the bush and not showing your emotions would be bad. Being so direct that you're like just cheesy and would take any girl and you just like her for her appearance, bad. But there's this range in the middle that's good. And that's true on like, I mean, almost every characteristic you can have as a man in game, there's a good range and there's going too far either direction.
How do you know whether you're going too far on one end or the other?
If it consistently fails.
Oh, okay. So just like
if it consistently fails, you're doing it wrong. I mean, there are ways that I know, but the only ways I know is because of experience, right?
So
I know because of.
New guy know? Like, he just has to take the risk.
You gotta go get the reps. What you do is essentially in a game. Here's what you're doing. You have a model in your head of what women are, what men are, how the world works, and what attraction is, and hopefully that model is somewhat accurate. But whatever the model you have in your head, that's what you have to go with, and you go try using that model to go sleep with girls. And then when you fail, and especially when you fail and it surprises you, you start adjusting your model. When you're like, I think that based on my model, that should have worked, and it failed, then you start adjusting and recalibrating your model to make it better, right? And over time, your model gets better and better and better, your calibration gets better, your understanding gets better. But you can't use anybody else's model because you don't understand it. You have to use the model that's in your head and then keep tweaking and improving that model. And hopefully, by watching my videos and coming on a course and that kind of stuff, your model is way better than the average guy's model, and you're a lot closer than you would be if you were just making this model up completely on your own. But you do have to kind of test and tweak as you go. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then is that model as individual
Okay, so that's a complexity, that's a wrinkle in the model. So here's my model of what women are. Here's my model of what men are and how sex works and how attraction works. And then here's my model of how Russian girls are different, or how Latina girls are different, or how girls act differently in Vegas than in New York, right? And so that's Charlie Munger would call a lattice work of models. There's models on top of models, and you have to make the best approximate understanding you have of the world and work accordingly. But yeah, so you have your general model of women, and you have a model of this girl in front of you. And that model gets better the more time you spend with her. That girl gets better the more girls you've dated who are similar to her that you can draw a reference from, et cetera, et cetera. The girls are very capable at rejecting men if they want to. They'll figure, if they don't want to do something with you, they will tell you. You don't have to help them, right? You don't have to help them. It's like if you were in a sales career, right, and you're selling cars. And someone, there's other things in their life that they could spend the money on besides a car. Are you like, well, listen, we can sign these papers, but do you really think that it's a responsible decision for you to be buying a car right now? I mean, like, you could go with the more downgraded car, and you could maybe spend this money on, some kind of home improvement instead. Would that maybe be better for you? I just want to make sure that I'm not doing you wrong. That's not your job. As a car salesman, your job is to sell the fucking car. It's not your job to fix their life. It's not your job to be more concerned about them than they are. Does that make sense? There's a good, it's from sales as well, but there's a good kind of sales lesson from a guy named Zig Ziglar. He talks about sympathy and empathy. And his definition of the two words, which they're very similar words, but he says empathy is when you understand someone's situation. Sympathy is when you feel it right along with them, right? And he said, great salesmen have empathy, but they don't have sympathy, right? And so his metaphor is like if you were on a ship in bad seas and someone's like over the side vomiting and sick, right? Someone with empathy would be like, hey, can I get you some water, a washcloth? How can I help you out, right? Someone with sympathy would get over next to them and start vomiting next to them, right? You're not helping them by having sympathy. That makes sense? You're not helping yourself either. Make sense? It's not your job to make sure that she gets the makeup in her bag. That's her job, right? Your job is to make sure she has an amazing man in her life. And you should believe that between having you as an amazing man in her life or not having the perfect makeup on her shoot or having to wake up before the shoot and go get it on the way to the shoot, which is also a fucking completely good option that she can do in her hometown and not in Vegas, that you were worth it and that you have enough value that that's the better decision for her. So to a certain extent, you did not, get in your own way. To a certain extent, you need to believe in your product. You need to believe in you and believe that you are the best decision the girl can make.